My name is Sharonica, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do it just maybe one or two more, okay? Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Where there's smoke, there is fire. And I've been telling you guys since the second fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder that everything is going to eventually come to light. As the days go by, more and more truth starts to seep out regarding Tyson Fury. Tyson did an interview like 2 or 3 weeks before he pulled out of the fight, and damn near made a prediction that he would possibly catch COVID or he would get injured. At least he expressed concerns that maybe he would possibly catch COVID. First of all, have you guys ever heard a boxer say this during this pandemic? Well, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the only thing I could see stopping this fight is if I get injured or I end up catching COVID. Tyson Fury is the only person that has ever said this before. And then coincidentally, he pulls out of the fight and claims it's from COVID. 2021 is the wildest year of boxing I can ever recall. And Andre Ward had the nerve to say he didn't think Deontay Wilder was psychologically prepared because he came to the press conference wearing headphones, not wanting to talk to anyone. Speaking of red flags, because Andre Ward, he said it sends off red flags when you see Deontay Wilder behaving this way. That's another red flag when you think of the fact that Tyson Fury is telling the media there's a possibility that I may have to pull out of this fight from an injury, maybe COVID, something like that. This just completely blows my mind. Once again, man, who says this? Preparing for a fight. Yeah, sure, Wilder was sitting over there with his headphones, but did Wilder ever say, you know what, I'm just hoping I don't catch COVID. I just hope I don't get injured before the fight. I mean, it's almost like saying, man, I hope my wife doesn't end up getting into an accident next week and killing herself. And then a week later, that's exactly what happens. She gets in some type of accident and loses her life. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Speaking of making this stuff up, let me go ahead and play the clip of Tyson Fury actually saying this, so no one does think that this is made up and there's no way Tyson Fury would say something like that before the fight. Check out this clip.
We're only 3 weeks away now from the fight. What goes through a fighter like yourself's mind 3 weeks out? Obviously, you've got a week of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before the fight where you've got obligations, press conferences, weigh-ins, all those things. What goes through the mind now in the last couple of weeks, through your mind and your body?
Nothing really. I don't really think about the fight until it's on upon us. My most important thing is to get to the fight injury-free, not to get some stupid cut in sparring or injury at the last minute or catch COVID even, or whatever there is. Whatever there is, the danger's out there. I try and avoid all that stuff because the most important thing for any fighter is to get to the fight in one piece, and then you can do your best on the night. And it's a battle of willpower and a battle of attrition who wants it more on the night.
Guys, if the average person didn't know any better, he would automatically suspect that Tyson Fury, he knew probably for a very, very, very long time that this fight was never going to take place on July 24th. When he got on that stage and he talked a big game and he was nailing all his punchlines, he knew when he was saying all of those things. He knew when he was standing here staring at Deontay Wilder that he wasn't going to be fighting Deontay Wilder July 24th. Nothing about Tyson Fury's story adds up. None of it makes sense. It's contradiction after contradiction. Tyson Fury's own promoter, I already played the recording for you, Bob Arum, he said that Tyson Fury is totally vaccinated. Now, of course, Bob Arum, to no one's surprise, he has to do damage control. And now he's trying to say, oh, well, I thought he took the Johnson & Johnson. I thought he had took both vaccinations or both doses. But that was expected for Bob Arum to try to save face, right? But it's too late. Bob Arum had already let the truth out. Then we heard reports that Tyson Fury, all of a sudden, he was supposed to be traveling right after he supposedly tested positive for COVID. Then Tyson Fury's sparring partner, Joseph Parker, he makes the mistake of putting up a picture of him at the UFC fight. And then out of nowhere, Joseph mysteriously takes the photo down, which obviously made it look like he had something to hide. The reports were that Tyson Fury had at least 10 team members that caught COVID. And yet, we haven't got one single name of an actual person who has actually tested positive for COVID. Going back to something that Andre Ward said. Andre Ward, he said, man, Deontay Wilder had 18 months to get his head right and not talk to anyone, etc., etc. Once you get on that stage, it's time for you to sell the fight and etc., etc. Once again, he's saying that Deontay Wilder had 18 months to prepare for this moment. Same thing can be said about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had 18 months to prepare for this fight. And we find out he's still not ready for this fight. He's still not prepared. He's not in shape, and he has to pull out of the fight. All that time he had to get in shape, to get ready for this fight. And let a lot of these fans tell it, Deontay Wilder is supposed to be an easy fight, right? You would think the way the fans talk, at least the Tyson Fury fans, well, I won't call them Tyson Fury fans, the anti-Deontay Wilder fans, the way they talk, you would think that Tyson Fury wouldn't even need to be 100% to beat someone like Deontay Wilder. But clearly, Tyson Fury, he knows that he's not ready to get in there with someone like Wilder. And we all know that Tyson Fury always disagrees with the fans that defend him because he's the only one that's been telling the truth when it comes to how dangerous of a fighter Wilder is, at least him and his father. You think all of this is just a big coincidence that John Fury, he does an interview and he tells the whole boxing world he does not like this fight against Wilder. It's too dangerous of a fight. He would not be surprised if Deontay Wilder wins the fight. And a couple weeks after he says that, Tyson Fury pulls out of the fight, looking like a prophet when it comes to the whole COVID claim. I think Deontay Wilder is extremely frustrated. I mean, of course, he admits that he's frustrated, but I think he's the one that's having a hard time psychologically preparing for this fight. There is an enormous amount of pressure on Tyson Fury because obviously he has a lot of American supporters, UK supporters, and everyone else who's not black. They're expecting him to do the same thing that he did to Deontay Wilder in that second fight. But he ain't gonna have his magic gloves in the third fight. That's got to be concerning for Tyson Fury. First of all, Tyson couldn't even knock out Deontay Wilder flat with his magic gloves. Imagine how he's gonna look without those gloves in this third fight. That's what Tyson Fury is really worried about. You can't go in there, you cannot cheat. And you're going in there with the guy that you called the most dangerous heavyweight in the division. I don't know when we're going to get this fight. I would not be surprised if the fight gets pushed back again. Because right now, Tyson Fury is having somewhat of a mental breakdown, thinking about this Deontay Wilder problem. We'll see what happens, guys. That's all I got for now, and I'm on to the next one.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
Hello, my name is Dominic. I just got my procedure done here in South Carolinas. I was recommended by Dante's Boxing Nation, and it's real. You know, here's the results. The brother out here, Brother Enoch, is real, and it's a very, very, very good recommendation. I recommend it. 4 hours, you in, you out, and it's the rest of your life.
So if anyone in the world wants this hookup, make sure you contact my man Anak at 704-499-3471 and make sure to follow him on Instagram.